It's IPR Studio One. I'm Tony Daner. We're in new territory for us. We're at the Slowdown in Omaha. I'm here with Skylar and Sam from Ben Stellar. Guys, welcome to, I'd say welcome to Omaha, but I haven't been here in a while either. So this is
thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're excited. And this is your first time at the Slowdown.
First time at the Slowdown, first time in Omaha. Yeah.
Well, no, technically, though, it's our first time playing in Omaha, but we've actually been here because our van broke down in Harlan, Iowa, and a group of a mechanic and his family helped us out quite a bit, and then they actually drove us to the airport in Omaha because our van was so fried. So technically, we've been here before.
I've lived in Iowa my entire life. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, and they're actually here tonight.
That's
They're
so cool.
on the list.
Have you stayed in touch with these folks over the years?
Yeah, a little bit. The mechanic's brother is very into harmonicas, and so he comments on all of our videos like, "Where's all the harmonica? Come on, what the?" Yeah. So
he also gave us some harmonicas and mouth harps. So yeah, he's a legend. Yeah.
You've been on tour with Fountaines D.C. for a little while now, and just finished sound check. We're about an hour away from your set. How does this venue compare to some of the other venues you've played on this tour?
I think it's similar to what we've been playing in the Midwest. I think on the West Coast and on the East Coast the rooms are bigger, but over here they tend to be a little bit smaller, which I actually prefer quite a bit. Especially being an opening band, I think there's like way more room for connecting with the audience. Yeah, and people are less inclined to go on their phones or whatever because you can actually see their faces. So yeah, I'd say it's par for the course with the past 2 or 3 venues we've played. Yeah.
Remember working at a blues festival once, and band did a song called "The Smaller the Room, the Bigger the Party," and I've carried that with me. Does that resonate with you?
Totally. I mean, it's great when it's a big room and a big party. That happens every once in a while. That's definitely better than small room, big party. But I would say on average that is the case, yeah.
You are touring in support of your debut record, Scream from New York, New York, and congratulations on that record.
Thank you.
By the way, we are big fans of it at Studio One.
Awesome.
I love
Thank you.
the record, listened to it a bunch today. I have not been to New York City, and I've read reviews of the record, constantly making references to New York City. Do you think there's an added level of maybe enjoyment for someone who is from that city or has visited, who listens to the record and maybe is like, I get it,
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of interesting because none of us actually grew up in New York. We're all from all over. And New York albums were always really big for me growing up because it was sort of like a beacon of hope when you're living in suburbia and everything. So I could see it equally connecting to people who live there, but also connecting to people who aspire to live somewhere where there's culture all the time and when there's there's energy. But I think definitely the lyrics people from New York would understand more because they're pretty specific at times. Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that, Sam? Or
no.
Okay. Ben Stellar is a guitar-heavy band, and I don't know how much Pitchfork you read or whatever, but there's a lot of, talk out there about whether or not guitar rock is kind of going away or it's dying out. Do you have a take on that? Because listening to Ben Stellar, I do not feel that way at all.
Yeah. We're definitely, a guitar band for sure, but to be honest with you, it's not really something I think about a lot because we don't really just listen to guitar music, and I think in a lot of ways, guitar music as a whole isn't the most interesting thing happening right now. I think if you were to pick, a genre like rap or things like that, there's way more innovative stuff going on. So I'd say maybe it's less popular now, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think guitar music will always be around. It's just obviously people like seeing live music and live guitars, but it's not something that I really think about or it doesn't really bother me that much. Yeah.
For me, your music definitely brought to mind Television or some of the bands from that era, Richard Hell and the Voidoids,
totally,
guys like that. Yeah. But in light of what you were just saying, do you have any non-obvious influences that would surprise somebody like me?
Again, we're really into hip hop, especially the drumming on this record. A lot of those were we were pretty deep into Layla's definitely that's sort of her wheelhouse. And I guess going into listening to it, we were listening to a lot of trip hop as well, and a lot of, I mean, we're always really big fans of like the sort of Lamont Young, like Velvet Underground, early like droney stuff. And we almost like it too much. It's like kind of a thing where like we'll make songs that are really like long and droney and ambient, and then we're like, no, we actually want to be a pop band, So like we take from that and like I think make more traditional songs. But I don't know. Is there any other non-traditional influences?
I mean, yeah, I guess like also visual influences. Like we're super inspired by. We're all very into film. Sky and I have a lot of conversations post-movie. The movie My Dinner with Andre had a really big impact on us when we saw it. And Sky's very into Jim Jarmusch and Wong Kar-wai and stuff like that. I'm super into Alice in Chains and Harry Nilsson. So maybe those are a few things to throw at me that are less on the record sleeve,
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned trip hop. Are you guys are into Massive Attack?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Although my favorite trip hop band, although it might be kind of unfair to characterize them as trip hop because they're definitely more guitar based than most trip hop bands. It's this band from New York in the 90s called Bowery Electric, and they put out 3 really, really cool records. And they're like kind of come from like a really interesting pocket of time in New York because that's right before the Strokes and everything came about, but still like I don't know, it was kind of like a sort of musical wasteland a bit at that time. So to me, it like I can like live vicariously of that sort of pre-gentrified time through their music, I think. But yeah, I mean Portishead and Massive Attack and all that's so Tricky we really like too. So yeah.
Just apropos of nothing, Robert Del Naja from Massive Attack was suspected of being Banksy for a while. That made me
from
think
Bristol too, right?
Made me think of that when you're talking about visual art.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much Banksy is. Basquiat's always kind of like my like sort of North Star, like especially when we're doing our visual stuff. He's like, I mean, he's definitely like an obvious influence, and a lot of people from New York would probably say he's sort of been like kind of commodified a bit, like Andy Warhol, but his like the way he mixes like language and words with his art, it's so cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For folks like me who are about to see and hear Ben Stiller for the first time, what can we expect from tonight's show?
Just a lot of passion. We really, really want to be here. Like we're very hungry. So I hope that comes through, and I hope people can tell that like we really mean what we're doing.
I got one more question before I let you go. This is probably going to annoy you, but I can't help it. Which Ben Stiller movie were you watching when you came up with the band name?
We actually weren't watching a Ben Stiller movie. The band name kind of came, there was this sort of not EDM, like electronic artist from Ann Arbor, which is kind of close to where we grew up, called Calm Trues. And I was 14 years old, and I thought that was cool, but I also like the name Ben Stiller because it sounds like something like someone ironically would say, like, "How have you been?" "Oh, I've been Stiller." I don't know. It just sounded cool. Ben Stiller is awesome, though. We've met him once. He's a really nice guy. He's in a really cool band. Shout out Capital Punishment. If you haven't listened to them, check them out. But I don't know. Night at the Museum is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's something about Mary.
Yeah. That's a good one. All right, Sam, Skylar, thanks so much for your time, and have fun tonight.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks, man.